What if the most cheerful face on daytime television was hiding whispers so dark that even the silence around her started sounding like a warning? Because the moment those documents surfaced, everything changed. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, almost too quietly. And that's exactly what made people stop and look closer. Names repeating, patterns forming, questions stacking up faster than answers. And right there, buried deep inside pages most people would never read twice, one name kept appearing again and again and again. Ellen, more than 1,000 mentions. Think about that. Not once, not twice, over 1,000 times. Coincidence? Or something no one was supposed to notice? And then, the voicemail. Not a headline, not a press conference, just a voice, sitting there, waiting to be heard.
Yeah. I have a victim for you about DeGeneres. Her name is, she's been with us about a year, less than a year. So you can call her on, set an appointment to meet up with her. Yeah, she doesn't want you at the house, but she said that you can call her.
A victim, a connection, a timeline that doesn't quite sit right. Investigators online started connecting dots that didn't want to be connected. Emails, calls, dates, cross-references that began pointing towards someone unexpected, someone familiar, someone who once stood smiling in front of millions every single day. And suddenly, the narrative starts bending. Because when you rewind the clock, something else appears. A relationship from the past. A name resurfacing. Anne Heche. Not just a footnote, but possibly a missing piece. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because her death didn't just close a chapter. It opened a question. A loud one. Why now? Why then? Why right after the show ended and everything started going quiet? But that's just the beginning. Because what comes next doesn't sound like reality anymore. It sounds like something pulled straight out of a script no one would dare approve. Emails, statements, fragments of conversations that don't quite make sense unless you read them differently. Words that look ordinary until they're not. And that's when the code theory...
Ambulance, that's some sort of sign, but yes. So basically the activity that we were looking for, that anxious or that quick moving, that was going on the other side of the vehicle. Oh my gosh, he's completely alive.
What the hell?
It explodes. Food, random food. Or is it? Pizza, sushi, ice cream, words floating through emails like harmless chatter, except the context doesn't match, the tone doesn't match, the situation doesn't match. So what are they really talking about? And why does it feel like everyone is pretending not to notice? Because once you start looking, you can't stop seeing it. Patterns, connections, a system hiding in plain sight. And then comes the part that pushes everything over the edge, the part people whisper about but rarely say out loud. Allegations so extreme, so disturbing, that even repeating them feels like crossing a line. And yet, they keep showing up. In discussions, in threads, in investigations that never quite go away. What was Anne trying to expose? Why was she digging? And why does it feel like every answer leads to something darker? But just when you think it can't get more surreal, it does.
The Epstein files reveal Ellen DeGeneres as, and I'm quoting this directly from the posts, Hollywood's most prolific, that she consumed human flesh. Ellen DeGeneres is named in the Epstein documents, and that part is real. Her name appears in the broader index of over 300 high-profile individuals that show up across the investigative materials. Flight logs, communications, third-party interviews, peripheral records.
And so if I do, I don't want it to go to waste. Who will eat pizza if I... Jennifer? Yes? Harrison? Yes? Come on. All right. Too large? What do you think? I'm going to order some pizza.
Because now the conversation shifts from hidden messages to public moments, on-air discussions, casual laughter, jokes that don't quite land the same way anymore when you look back at them with new eyes. Topics that once sounded quirky now feel loaded, too loaded. And people start asking a dangerous question. Was it all just entertainment or something else entirely? And then there's the symbolism. Set designs that look...
The number one point is they're not talking about real jerky here. We know that. It's code for something.
Right.
And when you go through some of the other emails that talk about how to refrigerate it, where to store it, how many pounds it is and things like that, your brain goes to some of that Peter Nygaard type
Oh
world
yeah,
type things.
absolutely. Now I've seen these, and I have access to the the index emails as well. It's and I try to go through them when time allows. But yeah, I would guess, if I were a betting man, that they're not talking about actual beef jerky. Not known to be an island treat. I mean, people eat a lot of fish down on the islands, and I'm sure other stuff too. But I mean, to me, this is code for something more nefarious.
There are code words that suggest Jeffrey Epstein and his associates could maybe even be engaging in some sort of consumption. Is that human consumption? Are there code words? There's a lot of talk of beef jerky. There's a restaurant called The Campbell where the owner is listed in some of these documents. Now, that isn't a restaurant that is just proclaiming to serve human meat by any means, but some of this just, it seems that there's a lot of conspiracies that make you wonder. And I saw more emails about torture, and these coded conversations still have a very clear topic. The torture was big. It was a big driver for them. And these were sick people doing very, very sick things.
Eerily familiar. Structures that seem to mirror places they shouldn't. Details so specific they stop feeling accidental. Palm trees, layouts, backgrounds, almost like a reflection or a message. Because here's the thing, if it's all coincidence, it's one of the strangest strings of coincidences anyone has ever seen. But if it's not, then what exactly are we looking at? And why does it feel like every layer you peel back reveals something even harder to explain? Because it doesn't stop at visuals. It goes deeper, into symbols, into art, into connections that stretch across different celebrities, different industries, different worlds, all somehow intersecting in ways that don't feel random anymore. And just when the pressure starts building, something else happens. The show ends. Not gradually, not quietly, abruptly, like a curtain dropping before the final act. And almost immediately, the timeline tightens. Court cases, depositions, names being discussed behind closed doors. And suddenly, stepping away from the spotlight doesn't look like a simple career move anymore. It looks strategic, calculated, timed, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Timing like that doesn't just happen. And then, the losses. 2 people, close connections, both gone within months of each other. Different circumstances, different stories, but the same lingering question hovering over both. Why so close together? Why under such unusual conditions? And why does it feel like no one is asking loudly enough? Because every time someone starts to connect these pieces, the conversation shifts, the focus moves, the noise increases, and the silence returns. That heavy, unsettling silence. The kind that doesn't feel empty. The kind that feels intentional. And now, as more documents surface, as more fragments leak, as more people start paying attention, the picture isn't getting clearer. It's getting darker. Because every new detail doesn't answer the question, it multiplies it. So the real question isn't just what happened. It's this: how much of this was hidden in plain sight, and how much are we only just beginning to understand? Because if even a fraction of these connections hold weight, then this story isn't over. Not even close. It's just starting to unfold. And just when you think the story has reached its limit, it twists again, sharper this time, darker, almost like it's daring you to keep looking. Because the deeper investigators go into the files tied to Jeffrey Epstein, the more it stops feeling like a closed case and starts looking like a network that was never fully exposed. Names appear, disappear, then reappear in places they shouldn't. Conversations surface, then vanish behind legal walls. And right in the middle of this shifting maze, the same unsettling question keeps circling back. Who else was involved? And why does it feel like we're only seeing fragments of something much bigger? Because here's where it gets even more complicated. Court discussions tied to Ghislaine Maxwell didn't just confirm associations. They hinted at gaps, missing names, sealed agreements, quiet protections that no one fully understands. And when whispers started spreading that dozens of individuals could have been shielded behind undisclosed deals, the narrative didn't just crack, it fractured. Suddenly, this wasn't about one man anymore. It was about an entire circle that may have operated in silence for years. And that silence, it's deafening. Because while the public sees headlines, insiders see timing. And the timing around Ellen DeGeneres stepping away from her show doesn't sit comfortably once you place it beside beside everything else. The announcements, the legal movements, the slow drip of information leaking into public view. It all overlaps just enough to make people uneasy, but never enough to confirm anything outright. And that's what makes it dangerous. It lives in that gray space between coincidence and intention. Then comes the detail that refuses to go away, the idea that people close to the center of this storm didn't just fade out, they vanished under circumstances that don't line up neatly. Anne Heche and Stephen Boss. Two names, two tragedies, but one timeline that feels too compressed to ignore. Different stories, different explanations, but the same lingering discomfort. Because when events cluster like that, people don't just accept them, they question them. And those questions don't fade easily. What were they aware of? What did they experience behind the scenes? And more importantly, what were they about to say? Because the narrative starts shifting again when personal accounts begin surfacing. Diaries, statements, fragments of testimony tied to victims who described experiences so disturbing they're almost impossible to process. These aren't rumors whispered online. These are records that paint a picture of manipulation, coercion, and systems designed to keep everything hidden in plain sight. And when those accounts mention powerful individuals, politicians, celebrities, even royalty, it forces a realization that the scope of this network might stretch far beyond what anyone originally imagined. Even figures like Bill Gates and Prince Andrew have been pulled into discussions around Epstein's world, showing just how wide the circle extended. And when names like that appear, it stops being a fringe theory. It becomes a question of how deep the connections truly go, and who else might still be hidden behind sealed files and unanswered investigations. Because the most chilling part isn't what's already known, it's what hasn't been released yet. There are still documents sealed, still evidence locked away, still testimonies that haven't seen daylight. And every time a new file is mentioned, every time a new list is rumored, the anticipation builds, followed by frustration when answers don't fully materialize. It creates this strange cycle where truth feels close but never quite within reach. And then comes another shift, a move that raised eyebrows globally. Reports of Ellen leaving the United States, relocating across the Atlantic. Officially, it's explained through politics, personal reasons, lifestyle changes. But when you place that move against the backdrop of ongoing investigations and upcoming disclosures, it takes on a different tone, because perception matters. And right now, perception is filled with questions. Is it coincidence or timing? Once again, because everything in this story seems to come back to timing, the release of information, the ending of careers, the sudden relocations, the unexplained gaps. They all orbit the same central mystery, like pieces of a puzzle that almost fit, but never quite lock into place. And that almost is what keeps people watching, keeps them digging, keeps them refusing to let the story disappear. And maybe that's exactly why this story hasn't faded like others, because it refuses to resolve, because every answer feels partial, because every conclusion opens another door. And now, as new discussions emerge about hidden notes, sealed evidence, and accounts that were never fully investigated, the sense of unfinished business grows stronger. People aren't just asking what happened anymore.